Chemistry is the study of matter and how matter changes. So in studying matter, matter is everything in the universe that is made out of atoms. That's a lot. That's basically everything that you can see and a lot of things that you can't see. It does not include energy, but it's a lot of stuff. So when you have a lot of stuff, the first thing you want to do is organize it. And so the way matter is organized, the way matter is classified, in one way is by its physical state. You can define matter as one of these main physical states, which are typically liquids, gases, and solids. There's also plasmas, which are hot ionized gases that can conduct electricity. You have plasma screens, and that is a physical state. There's also a Bose-Einstein condensate, or it's called a condensate, which is a supercooled gas. But the three main physical states that we see every day are liquids, gases, and solids. So in this classification scheme, you take all the matter in the universe and you basically put it in one of these buckets, a liquid, a gas, or a solid. Think about the matter you see around you, the pencil or pen you're holding. Which classification would you put this in? Or if you're drinking some water, the water, you would classify that as a liquid. Or there's the matter you can't see, like the air in the room, which would be the gas. Another way to organize matter is by its composition, what it's made out of. Matter organized by its composition starts off with the same idea. You've got all the stuff in the universe that you can see and not see, and deciding if it is a substance or a mixture. And the substances are made up of elements, and that's elements in the periodic table, or compounds. These substances are really, 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 really small, and you cannot see. These elements can be composed of single atoms, be represented by a single box on the periodic table, or we'll see molecular views of single atoms. So an example would be silicon. So you can have a solid piece of silicon, but when you cut it down, break it down, break it down, break it down to its smallest units, the smallest units of that silicon chip are going to be individual atoms. Bonding two elements that are different, two different elements like silicon and oxygen bonded together, now you're talking about a compound. So a compound is two or more different types of atoms that are bonded together. So silicon dioxide is an example. When processed is glass, but when unprocessed you have silicon dioxide in the form of sand. When you're talking about the other side, when you put these two buckets, put matter into two large buckets, really large because it's the whole universe, mixtures are what we can see. So mixtures are larger scale and macroscopic. A mixture can be heterogeneous or homogeneous. So a heterogeneous mixture is a mixture in which you can see the different parts. So an example would be gravel, or a bunch of different seeds, or even just everything in this room. You can there's the air you can't see. That's a heterogeneous mixture, all those things. Compared to a homogeneous mixture is one where you know there are different parts, there are different things in there, but you can't see those different parts. An example would be when sugar is dissolved in water. You can't see the sugar, you can't see the water separate from each other, but you know that the sugar is dissolved in the water. So that's called a homogeneous mixture, when there are different parts and you can't see the parts. So classifying matter by composition, taking all matter in the universe, you ask, can you take this thing and separate it, physically separate the parts? If the answer is yes, then you're talking about a mixture. If the answer is no, then you're talking about a pure substance. If you have a pure substance, you ask, can you break this down into simpler parts? So if this is going to happen by a chemical reaction, then you are talking about a compound. Basically, a compound is the elements bonded together. When you have a chemical reaction to separate the elements, then that must have been a compound to start with. If you cannot break it down with a chemical reaction, then it was an element that was not bonded to another element. We can't ask these questions of a mixture. A mixture is basically just separated by a physical process, and they are physical combinations of basically elements, compounds, These substances, when you put them together but don't bond them together, then you have a mixture.